Alright, what is going on, everybody? Aftermath A versus Dark Empire, MBL Nikov versus Spring, Dragonstar, and Adam over here. This is the first set in the group stage of Empire Wars Duo 2. This is from Group B, I believe. As we are gonna have Cape of Storms and Canberra as the home maps of Aftermath, Rockslide, and Kawasan for Dark Empire. You can see all the civilizations over here. Britons and Vikings are the global bands. Franks, Ethiopians were the snipes. The rest of the civilizations remain. Now these are going to be played on the new patch, which means that the new civilizations are also allowed. I'm really curious to see if we are going to have any Poles or Bohemians being picked. Would be fun to see Bohemian stuff maybe on Canberra. And Poles, who knows? Looks like this set is not going to feature any of those. But with that, let's jump straight into game number 1. So, welcome. We are gonna have in warm colors. Oh no, they screwed up the colors. No, we're gonna have to do some messing around here just so that they are alright. So, we're gonna have MBL on the right side as yellow Magyars for his team. To the left of him is Nikov as Chinese in red. To the north, we have Spring as green Huns. And Dragonstar is gonna play Mayans in blue. They are going for the AOC combo of civilizations over here. That is something that we have seen from them in the previous round. We already have a scout coming in here for Nikov, and he's not messing around. He is not messing around. That's a villager down from Spring over here. That's a start. We can say that, as we are gonna have another scout coming in here for MBL. They might try to double team another villager. Spring is pretty late with that stable over here, so that's a bit of a surprise. Let's see if that scout still tries to poke around a little bit. On the other side, Dragonstar is already almost fully evolved. The Spearman actually takes the long way around to accompany the archers as they are heading towards the base of Nikov. Nikov was sending archers forward already with double ranges to start with. Bit of a scout scuffle. Spring gets double teamed by MBL scouts. Looks like this start has been caught much, much better. So, looks like we have a bit of a communication over here as MBL scouts come in. Speaking of MBL scouts, that's the -2 villagers now for Spring. It's definitely hard to wall yourself as Huns over here, and it doesn't really help that you're not really producing scouts. So, looks like this could be a bit of a problem here for Spring, and I may have even said it a little too easily here for him, because now he has to make a panic tower on the farming eco. Oh my goodness, things are just falling apart. That's nice micro there from him, trying to pick off the scouts. But still, MBL's got better numbers over here. Spring is just unable to sustain that level of scout production. On the other hand, here come the archers, and MBL's gonna get pushed. Looks like MBL might have a couple of heated moments here as well. Dragonstar has played really outstanding in the previous rounds. Well, the previous round, the qualifiers that they have played. He's gonna have to do a bit of a carrying over here because Spring has lost a considerable amount of villagers in this one. Looks like MBL will retreat, might make some nice quick walls to prevent the archers to run into the wood line. MBL very heavy on gold over here with Magyars, so he's gonna have to do some market abuse to get up into Castle Age. He's got the Magyar scouts already with forging, and I would assume that he's only gonna get +1 defense after clicking up to Castle, and it looks like MBL may have not known that there is a hole here, because otherwise he would have probably walled it earlier when he made these quick walls. On the other hand, now Nikov arrives with the archers, and Dragonstar is a little bit trapped over here. Beautiful micro there from MBL and Nikov. This way, Dragonstar's army is gonna get cleaned up. Looking at resources, MBL is on the way to Castle Age, and we have Nikov very close to clicking up as well. Other side, Dragonstar is not far away, but Spring obviously has been set back quite considerably over here. So, Spring still very much open base over here. He's mining a bit of a stone, so he wants at least one additional TC, probably on the gold, eventually, as the archers from Dragonstar are looping around. We have archers coming in from Nikov, as you see Dragonstar is pinging his own army over here. And he might be able to hit Nikov's gold mine if he's actually taking all the way around here. This could be an absolute jackpot. Oh, I think Nikov has spotted him. Yeah, Nikov obviously spotted him. So now Nikov knows what's up. And Nikov is going to converge with a bigger army here, I believe. 12 archers versus 9. Plus MBL scouts could also come in. Speaking of MBL scouts, he's still pushing Spring's base really heavily. Quite a few scouts with bloodlines and +1 attack, +1 defense just now coming in. As Spring goes for another tower over here. So, we're gonna have archers from Dragonstar heading towards MBL's base over here, but they're sort of being chased down by these archers. And I believe that if MBL pulls all his scouts here, he could just clean this group of archers up, which would be a massive win. It looks like Nikov alone might be enough to clean this one up, but obviously they could minimize their own casualties by just using those scouts to clean up the archers. Nikov is the first to Castle Age, shortly followed by Dragonstar, who is now running for his life with his archers. In Castle Age is MBL as well, which means that he's gonna have +2/+2 knights here really soon. And I really like how he's keeping his scouts around here. These are just here to get a surprise attack in when Spring is not looking. And that is apparently right now. Couple more villagers go down. They also now have +2 attack, so they're even stronger than they are used to be. Meanwhile, looks like Spring is gonna have to deal with this alone, because we are gonna have Dragonstar with his crossbows sort of isolated from his teammate. MBL still getting a very, very good value out of those scouts over there. Meanwhile, Nikov going for fast ballistics over here and also adding a second town center. Fast ballistics is coming in as well for Dragonstar here. He also does have the hill. But behind this one, Spring is really struggling to hold off these scouts, also making his knights in a couple of moments. But MBL also has got his knights on the way. Nice quick pause from Spring though. And this might be the time where he finally cleans up those scouts. Better late than never. Meanwhile, looks like Dragonstar is gonna have to fall back. Now he's got ballistics, as it looks like this is the moment where AM is going to start double teaming those archers over here. They feel like Spring has taken enough damage. MBL scouts, however, aren't necessarily really tanky here, so they won't actually absorb a lot of arrow fire, and you see that they're going down at a pretty rapid pace. Also the hill on the side of Dragonstar, so nice micro so far from him. Takes down the knights, and now MBL runs into the spearman over here, and MBL and Nikov have to be careful, because numbers-wise, Dragonstar and Spring actually have the advantage over here. They're firing down hills, the knights are coming in. Spring doesn't have +2 defense, which is a massive problem over here right now, because Nikov can just melt those knights. But it looks like Nikov may not actually have seen that Spring doesn't have +2 defense, because he's retreating relentlessly, and it looks like Nikov's army is gonna get absolutely slaughtered. Now, Dark Empire has doubled the army. The problem that they're facing is that their economy is nowhere close to AM's eco. We're already looking into a 20 villagers discrepancy, because MBL wasn't really enforcing Nikov's archers here. MBL is just coming in here and just raiding the hell out of the Spring space here. Spring basically has no operational economy. All his farmers are idle, all his gold miners are idle, and they will just get overrun by knights at this point, because Spring probably can't even afford to make a single knight now. Meanwhile, crossbows are heading all the way around. They're probably planning to hit MBL, and that's probably the best thing that you can do, because if you don't hit MBL right now, MBL will steamroll Spring here. On the other hand, behind this one, Nikov is free TC booming, so he is gonna have a pretty considerable advantage economically, although free TCs is there for Dragonstar as well. Still, AM with a pretty massive eco lead. That's mainly because MBL is at 54 villagers, Spring's at 35. Spring has lost 18 villagers in this game already. Oh my goodness. It's not necessarily his fault, but still, his eco has been raided to absolutely nothing. Now, here's the deal though, that's a pretty considerable amount of crossbows coming in, and it's not like MBL has much to defend with. A handful of knights is nice, but MBL could be easily forced off from his gold mine, and I kind of feel like Nikov bringing in the crossbows over here to Spring may not do as much as they hoped it would. Spring is already half dead, whereas for MBL, he could lose a lot here. And that would basically mean that you have 2 fairly even archer players and 2 completely dead cavalry players, as MBL is gonna lose quite a few knights over here. The crossbows are retreating to the gold mine. MBL trying to trap them, but the crossbows will find the perfect spot to fight. MBL has to lead the mining camp. Now the crossbows should be focusing down the knights over here. Looks like they are splitting their attention between the villagers and the knights. But honestly, these houses for MBL are actually making it harder to clean this group of crossbows up, because they just actually create very, very nice choke points. Looks like that group of archers do get cleaned up though by MBL. He lost some villagers, but not even remotely close to as many as Spring did. Although, truth being told, MBL is down to 46 vills, Spring's at 38, which is still way worse. The two archer players are pretty close, but Nikov is about to go into Imperial, I believe, with those resources. This is a nice fight over here for Dragonstar, though, taking this engagement. There is no +1 defense even for Nikov, so his crossbows will lose versus the ones from Dragonstar over here, as it looks like Nikov will be forced back. If Nikov takes a big beating on his economy, that could cause problems for AM. Here come the crossbows. Nikov does have very well-placed TCs. So you got one TC on the gold mine, one TC on the farming eco, obviously, and one on the woodlands. It's very hard for Dragonstar to do damage with those crossbows. Other side, we have Spring still being the punching back pretty much. At this point, Spring is just the one absorbing the damage and pretty much out of the game. Dragonstar will have to do the carrying. The thing is that you see that Nikov knows exactly that Dragonstar has to do the carrying, so he's already switching into elite skirms as the crossbowmen are coming in. This is actually a bit of a mismicro here, fairly big in fact, from Nikov. Just ran into crossbows and lost quite a few of his numbers before even taking the engagement. Meanwhile, look at this. Here is Dragonstar coming in with his own crossbows, and that TC may not go up. That TC may not go up here for MBL. The key thing here at this point for Spring and Dragonstar is that if Spring is dead, MBL has to be dead as well. That's the only way they will win this, but honestly, MBL is going to be very much dead here. Because look at this, MBL's entire army is pushing a player that's already pretty much dead, whereas for his own base, he's got no defense, and boom. MBL's down to 40 villagers now, 39, Spring is at 35. So both cavalry players are now pretty much dead, as Spring actually may start to be in a better and better position compared to MBL. Now, the bad news for Dragonstar and Spring is that Nikov is the first player to Imperial by a massive margin, but here's the deal. If... oh boy, that's a big fight, and that it should be a decisive advantage for MBL there. Dragonstar needs to focus down the weak knights. There is quite a few of them that are very, very weak, so this may not be as bad as you would think it is. Especially with, oh my goodness, Spring's Knights intercepting all those villagers. And I feel like this is the moment where you have to switch into Eagles if you're Dragonstar. 2v2's Eagles is a weird choice, but MBL is so dead that Eagles is your best bet against an opponent that's making skirms. And you would have Mayan Eagles with Eldorado. Also, worth noting that he's got 53 crossbows against only 12. Military numbers are double for Dark Empire. Eco is still better as MBL pops out the Mangonel, but MBL is now under heavy pressure, and in fact, Spring's economy is better than MBL's. Want a castle drop coming in here from Nikov. He should have chemistry and bracer soon, but right now his crossbows are pretty comparable to the opponent's crossbows. The elite scrim should still swing the battle in his favor, but is this castle even going up for him? Looks like it is, and Dragonstar will probably have to answer with a castle over here. He's mining stone right now. The crossbows hitting MBL's knights as well. MBL is just as dead as Spring is. In fact, MBL's knight numbers are lower than Spring's one, as MBL will be on free TCs for some additional booming. The danger here for AM is that AM's army is disturbingly low compared to Dark Empire's one. Obviously, in quality it's way better, because now it's almost Arbalest. But on the bright side of things, for Dark Empire, Dragonstar is gonna have 50-ish orbs in about a minute. Meanwhile, Spring coming in here with the knights will just try to raid MBL, try to get some retaliation for those early losses. And guess what? Spring now is ahead compared to MBL in villager numbers. Very nice base layout for Nikov, by the way, to prevent the orbs from running in. On the other side, these orbs are gonna push Dragonstar here, and traps are already being set up by Nikov. I really feel like the Eagles, which would be such a good move from Dragonstar. It would be hard to pull off with 88 villagers only. For now, he does have a huge amount of crossbows, so Arbalest is definitely a possibility, and it should be a thing. But at this point, I kind of feel like if Nikov just goes for a heavier approach on skirms, he would just level the base of Dragonstar. Nikov has a pretty decisive advantage compared to Dragonstar over here if it's just archer play. The other thing that could actually happen is Spring using his knights to run into Nikov's base. Nikov's base is wide open for raiding if the knights just run past the TCs, and Nikov's army is very slow. In fact, Nikov's only skirms. Spring should just bring his knights over here and clean this one up. Nikov barely has any orbs. So, MBO, obviously, Spring still wants to apply some pressure on him just to prevent the reboom. As I think that's another castle from Nikov over here. He's gonna buy 100 stone and drop a castle somewhere around over here. Because at this point, if the knights come in here, they can clean this one up. Another castle comes in here by Nikov. This is such a weird game. Because the thing is that there is a chance, there would have been a chance for Dragonstar's team over here as they tap out. Such an awkward ending to this one. I'm not saying that Dragonstar and Spring were leading. I'm just saying that, I mean, MBL's villager count was pretty much even compared to Spring's one, and Dragonstar actually had a much larger army than Nikov. It's just a matter of he wasn't able to use this. Now, obviously, I don't think that Dragonstar and Spring have known that MBL is this much set back. They see that MBL is on free TCs. They see that Nikov is dropping castles in your face. But still, 31 knights. I think that if you pull these knights right now, you don't even need to pull all of them. Pull 15, 20 of them. Run past this TC and run in here. Nikov loses 10, 15 villagers without any problems. So, I kind of feel like they just didn't feel that they still have a chance here. Spring was on 1 TC, that's totally true, as in the meanwhile MBL was on 3, so maybe they thought MBL has much better villager numbers, but had they known that MBL is only 42 villagers, those knights from Spring could have run straight into Nikov's base. If they kill 15-20 villagers here, this game is pretty much even between the Mayan player and the Chinese player. Still, this actually gives Spring and Dragonstar a bit of a hope. Because the thing is that they weren't completely destroyed on Arabia. Well, Spring was in the first half of the game, but then Dark Empire was able to find some retaliation, so this wasn't as decisive of a win for MBL Nikov as they would have hoped it would be. Still, especially the first half of the game was heavily in their favor, but I feel like there would have been options here for Dragonstar and Spring. They went for the old AOC civilizations, Mayans and Huns, and they will end up losing it. So Aftermath takes game number 1 over here. Alright, that leaves Dark Empire with 2 home maps remaining. We will have Rockslide and Kawasan coming in. Either of these maps could make sense for them. Kawasan is a little bit more open. Rockslide is a little bit more unique, so I can see Rockslide working a little bit better over here for Dark Empire. They have Portuguese for that. They potentially have something like Saracens for that map, or Koreans. Portuguese Koreans would be a fun combination for Rockslide. Kawasan feels like a Persians plus maybe Italian style map. And then we'll see about the rest. Canberra is going to be an interesting one. That could be a wildcard map over here, as we're gonna jump straight into the second game over here. So, we're going to Kawasan. Looks like Spring and Dragonstar feel more confident in that map. As I said, I think Rockslide is a little bit slower paced, so I could have seen that one working out slightly better. Nikov's gonna be red and Spring is gonna be green once again. So welcome everybody to Kawasan. We are gonna have on the right side Dark Empire, Spring and Dragonstar, with Byzantines in blue for Dragonstar and green for Dark Spring now. Dark is his Dark Empire team. I always confuse him with the actual Dark because, well, guess what? I'm just reading the first couple of letters, but that's Spring. Spring on the north has Berbers and Byzantines over here. Looks like we have a scout coming forward for Dragonstar over here. Let's see if he can actually get a villager pick. He shouldn't be able to, and indeed, Nikov now has 2 villagers over there. Dragonstar will keep running around and trying to hit that villager, but Nikov is reacting to this one very nicely. Looks like this isolated villager might be open for killing though, but the scout will have to settle with this one and disengage. We'll have Malay for Nikov on the left in red, and Burgundians for MBL in yellow. Now that's an awkward civ pick for this map, but this map can often go long, so Burgundy is not that awful of a civ pick. There is already a dock up for Nikov over here on this pond. No docks just yet from Dark Empire. The first one is going to come up by Spring over here on this pond. I like how he's sending a spearman here. He's probably expecting MBL to hunt for that villager, and he's honestly right about that. Behind this one, archers are being sent forward by Dragonstar, but it's a massive mistake that he's not sending a spearman with them. That's why you always send a spearman with the archers, because the scouts can take down 2 archers without problems. That's why the standard opening of archers with any Civilization Empire Wars is archers plus 1 or 2 spearmen, because this guarantees that your archers actually reach the opponent. The spearman now moving forward for Spring over here as MBL is coming in with the woes. MBL actually decided to mill his huntables and also got Boso, so his economy behind this one is going to be pretty decent. But you also have to consider that he's not making any army, and this could be dangerous. If he's not fully walled in time, which he's here but not over here, then the scouts could hit him and could potentially lose some vills. Added to the fact that Spring is going to have fishing eco, and I feel like Dark Empire may have the better economy between their cavalry players. For now it looks like Spring, however, is going to head towards the base of Nikov, who's playing a lot more open than MBL does. So, for now, Spring actually walling all the way out here to the pond. Are they going to make team walls? It would be so unnecessary to make team walls here. Just wall to the pond, and you also wall to the pond. As these scouts are now coming in. Nikov with the second range. Nikov doesn't have a single spearman, so stopping this one is going to be a challenge, as the scouts are now moving in for Spring. This is definitely the time to make damage on Nikov's economy. Nikov actually abandoned his wood line over here, tries to rush up some houses, but that should be a dead villager here by the archers. There should be no chance for that guy to escape. So 1 villager goes down here from Nikov, but he still has a pretty considerable fishing eco. In fact, he's double docks over here. We also have MBL fishing now, so I feel like AM is going very, very heavy on the economy and just wants to snowball the game in Castle Age, whereas for Dark Empire they actually apply a lot more pressure in Feudal and focus less on expanding the eco. Still, MBL has to make a defensive tower over here in reaction to the archers arriving, as the scouts are now also coming in. Scouts don't have any upgrades on them, as the archers of Dragonstar though do have +1/+1, so those are pretty good archers over there. Nikov also has +1/+1 over here. For now, Dark Empire wasn't really able to do that much damage with that Feudal Age aggression, as the walls are now up for Dragonstar. He's just about to add some fishing eco himself. Looks like the last player to reach Castle Age will be Dragonstar, because neither Dragonstar nor Nikov clicked up just yet, but Nikov obviously gets the melee bonus of faster age up, so Dragonstar will reach Castle Age as the latest player, and it looks like Nikov is sneaking a villager through here, or at least attempting to do so, probably to get a dock up here, but that shouldn't happen. Dragonstar must have spotted this, right? He should have seen this. Yeah, oh no. Wait a minute, don't tell me. Okay, he should see that villager, but he's probably focusing on microing his army, so he might not notice it. Nikov is gonna lose all his archers here in this fight, which is a disaster for him. As I said, he would be up to Castle Age much faster than Dragonstar, but when you lose your entire army, all your Castle Age advantage is gone. So this is a massive problem here for Nikov, and perfect situation for Dragonstar. Nikov's villager continues its journey for now. Like, I swear if this villager gets through, I'm going to scream. MBL going insta-cavalier here, as Nikov's army do get cleaned up, and it looks like Dragonstar has spotted this. He's gonna have to send an archer to stop this or so. For now, he's chasing with 2 villagers. Meanwhile, it looks like Dragonstar also wanted to sneak a dock up on Nikov. Nikov was paying attention, he has a galley out, and that means that that dock is not going up. Very nice resilience and very nice anticipation there from Nikov. He's going to prevent a dock drop on his pawn. Looks like every player has basically one pawn to work with over here, as for now... Oh, that's disgusting. That's disgusting, Nikov. I'm just gonna rewind that and show you what Nikov did to this poor little blue player. Marcus HC, thank you so much for the 3rd month of resub. I appreciate that. Look at this. Look at this. Come on, man. Now that is an ugly quick wall over there. And obviously Dragonstar's probably focused on microing his army. And because of that, oh yeah, now he's pinging Spring that, oh shoot, there is a villager coming around. Because that villager is going to be really annoying. But there's a camel around, and this camel could try to find this villager and fight it. But now it's going to be a pain. Anyways, right now we have 14 archers for Dragonstar, but he's still feudal age. Nikov is only at 6 crossbows, but he is in castle. Nikov's economy is the best in the game. MBL tied with him. MBL is going for full cavalier though, and considering that there is no archers from Nikov, or at least not in very good quantities, the camels will be able to just disintegrate MBL's cavalier here. So cheap Berber cavalier could easily overrun MBL. Also, MBL's gold mine is everything but safe. MBL decided to go for the berries, and he's also going to pick up the relics. Remember, Burgundians also get a relic bonus, so it makes sense for the Burgundian player to pick those up, as that archer is just relentlessly chasing that villager. There is going to be no sneaky docks around here. Camels trying to get into MBL's base, but that's just a distant dream for the time being. But when Dragonstar arrives with his archers and he's on triple ranges, that could change. For now, this army is scary, but as Nikov's crossbow numbers will grow, it will become less and less scary. Crossbowman coming in now for Dragonstar, as now the camel comes in. Okay, that villager should not survive. Look at this fight over here. Cavaliers coming from 2 directions. Crossbows will try to focus down the camels. There's only 4 camels here, so this is definitely a winnable fight for MBL. Hence, Spring thought about disengaging, but it looks like they are actually willing to take this fight here. The Knights have +2 defense, and if the Knights could just jump on top of those crossbows, that would be a jackpot for Spring. Looks like Spring is going to switch back entirely to Knights over here as more and more crossbows arrive. Crossbows from Dragonstar coming from the back door, and they could intercept the reinforcements from Nikov. That could be a nice move. MBL already on 3 relics over here, and it looks like those Knights and Camels will link up with these crossbows over here, potentially trying to take a decisive fight here in the middle. Second TC coming in for everybody. Spring even adding a 3rd one right now. Let's see what the crossbows can do here. These bears give you very, very nice choke points, so it's much easier to take fights with archers over here. And honestly, those knights could head straight to the base of Nikov, because Nikov's base is still relatively open in this one. And look at the fast aim from Dragonstar. This is why they actually picked Byzantines here, or at least part of the reason why. That is a very, very early imp, and on this map it could be such a good power spike. It is such a good power spike over here, because the thing is that on this map, if you secure the middle with a castle, and you can do that once you have your Arbalest, because you're gonna have a massive army power spike, then you can actually get a very, very good food source. You can get 6 or so relics, and that's going to compensate for you having a pretty weak economy over here. You see that right now Dark Emperor just wants to take that monastery down, try to force those relics out. The thing, however, is that MBL and Nikov are not far away from Imperial either. And remember that Nikov is gonna get up to Imperial pretty fast, because he is Malay. So I'm not sure how big of an advantage Dragonstar will have. So we'll have Thumbring in already for Dragonstar, and soon Bracer and Chemistry will be coming in alongside Arbalest. MBL is just gonna rebuild that monastery, and he still has a monk, so the monk can just pick the relics up. That was quick. So yeah, as you see, Nikov is about to click into Imperial. He's using the wrong TC for this one, although it depends, to be honest, which TC should Nikov use. This one may be more exposed from an attack from the right, but this one is more forward, so that's a weird decision to make. MBL's cavalier numbers are growing concerning here for Spring and Dragonstar, and the bigger deal is that MBL is not far away from imping either. Arbalest and the Bracer are in, so this is the moment where Dragonstar has to use their power spike, but as I said, that's a pretty small power spike. Only 1 minute advantage into Imperial. Looks like Spring is tempted to jump on the TC right now, or just isolate the villagers. This is even better by Spring. He's cutting off the villagers from the TC so that the ARBs can run beneath it. That's such a good move from Spring there. He didn't allow the villagers to run into the TC, so the Arbalests can actually take a fight below the town center. And now the jackpot will be to get those crossbows killed for Spring and Dragonstar, because then Nikov doesn't have much to upgrade, as indeed the middle part of the map falls. The two teams still have even economies. MBL looks like he's gonna stay in Castle Age for a little longer, and his gold mine is dangerously exposed here, so if that gold mine gets hit right now, MBL could be cut off from gold, even though there is quite a bit of a gold here on the outside. Nikov up to Imperial, and the Arbalest numbers will be pretty even in this one. TC will probably go up here. Yeah, it will. It will go up, as Nikov is now coming in with the Arbalest. He's gonna have chemistry. +2 defense is in for none of the players, as looks like Dark Emperor will have to disengage, but MBL has to be careful, because those Arbs will eat his Cavalier here. Chemistry just now coming in for Dragonstar. I don't think that Nikov has Thumbring just yet, so that's something that's worth considering. That damage output of those Arbs from Dragonstar are probably slightly better over here. MBL still retains possession of free relics over here. So, here's the deal though. Spring is thinking about Imperial, and MBL, he has been close to Imp, but he has been massing more and more army. On the other hand, Spring, if he gets to Imperial faster, he could get the actual Cavalier, because remember that these Cavalier have 20 less HP than regular Cavalier. So, if Spring gets to Imperial and gets to Cavalier, then they should have the army advantage here, but that's a big if, because we have 2.5 minutes until Imperial. Now the fight should be taking place in a way that the Arbalests focus down the opponent's Arbs and the Cavalry just fight against each other over here. Spring still 2.5 minutes away from Imperial, but that's actually a better fight for Spring and Dragonstar, believe it or not, because Nikov's Arbs are not really able to hit those Knights, whereas look at how many Cavalier already went down over here. I barely see any dead Knights, whereas a huge amount of Cavalier went down, and every single moment this push is delayed by MBL Nikov, that gives a chance for Spring to get into Imperial, as nice revos behind. It's gonna be tight. There's still a hole there, but it looks like it's actually going to be fixed. So now it's Arbalest versus Arbalest, but Dragonstar is unable to group up his army, and Dragonstar is making a demo here. He wants to make that demo shot happen. Now this is a dicey fight here, because the Cavalier are better than Knights, and the Arbalest numbers are better for Nikov on this battlefield, 41 versus only 30. The choke point definitely favors Spring and Dragonstar, and they also have an easier time reinforcing, but it looks like they just want to focus down the Cavalry at this point. They probably want to save Spring's Cav here, and just snowball this in Imperial with Cavalier. Still, Spring is going to lose considerable amount of Knights here, but remember, those are cheaper for him to replenish than it is for MBL, so this may still be a good fight here for Dark Empire after all, as all the Cavalier from MBL is dead, and MBL is not even close to Imperial, so those Arbalests just chew through all of those Cavalier, and this buys some time for Spring to get to Imperial and get the actual Cavalier, which is even better. Now, Burgundians will have Paladin eventually, and if MBL gets to Imperial, he could get the early Paladin as well, but that's gonna take some time, and now it is swinging back into the favor of Dragonstar and the Spring over here. We have two castles coming in the middle by AM. They really want to secure that position. Arbalest numbers are still pretty close. The key thing, as I said for Spring and the Dragonstar, is using those soon-to-be Cavaliers over here. Still, MBL has picked up free relics. They will have two castles in the middle, so pushing them off from this position is gonna be awfully hard. Over here, Nikov will need to set up some fish traps over here with Melee, as MBL is the last player to click into Imperial. Looking at those Arbs, there's only +1 defense for Dragonstar's Arbs, whereas +4 defense is in for Nikov's Arbalests. As we have Cavalier in for Spring. This is the power spike that they have been waiting for, because if they give time for MBL, MBL will get his Cavalier numbers back very, very fast. Let's see if he's adding any Crustaliers. Looks like not, as MBL is just relentlessly gathering all those relics. That's gonna give him a very, very nice trickle of gold and food. By the way, speaking of gold, MBL's gold income is very, very low. So, MBL only has 7 villagers on gold, despite having a primary gold over here. That's kind of awkward. And now they're heading to Nikov. Now they're heading to Nikov, and they spotted the Arbs, I believe. This is... Spring was thinking about it. Spring was thinking about splitting his forces and sending some into raiding and some into the fight against the Arbs here. Looks like they won't be engaging this one. I think Spring can just run into the eco of Nikov, although, speaking of the eco of Nikov, that's not really great, to be honest. Quite a lot of idols over here. Now he has to rush up a defensive castle. He doesn't really have a lot of good wood lines. I love how he's actually trying to quick wall this villager in here on the south against the mass of paladins, or well, cavaliers, but that villager is gonna go down. And now Nikov's gonna face heavy raids over here. Same thing on the north. Spring is just flooding those Berber cavalier. He's got 57 cavalier out here, and he has 29 more in queue. Spring is just flooding their opponents with cavalier over here as Dragonstar marches in with the Arbs, still missing the armor upgrade. MBL has clicked paladin, but it's gonna be a long 2.5 minutes until that actually materializes. And until then, he's 24 would-be cavaliers, because they have less HP, also they don't have the armor yet, versus actual 57 plus 4 defense cavalier. They're missing the attack upgrade, which is not nice, but still, Spring's cavalier numbers are more promising right now. Looks like this might be the fight that Spring and Dragonstar have been waiting for, and if Dragonstar loses, or if Nikov loses all those Arbs there, that's going to cause really big problems here for AM, despite the fact that they're still leading by score. Ecos are pretty close, but army numbers will probably swing in the favor of Dragonstar and Spring pretty soon. In this one, still, the lack of armor actually hurts for Dragonstar now, at least he has +2, but Nikov, very nice move here with the Arbs, picking off all those cavalier. Here, at the end, it's gonna be a pretty even trade. Nikov has better armor, but slightly better numbers for Dragonstar, so that's just gonna be armies annihilating each other over here on the left side. In fact, looks like Dragonstar actually comes out victorious from that. Behind this one, MBL is at 30 Cavalier, 47 for Spring right now. MBL's got attack upgrades though, that's something that's worth considering, and MBL's also mixing in some Crystaliers. So, Arbalest now heading all the way to MBL's base, and this could be a perfect spot to strike at. Cavalier now breaking inside as well over here. Eco is going to fall apart for AM if these raids continue, and it looks like they will. MBL, he's got some very, very exposed economy over here on the north, and these Arbs will come in here to kill so many farmers if MBL doesn't notice that. Nikov is chasing, so Nikov is going to warn his teammate that there is something coming against them, but I think that this fight will be won here by Dragonstar. Nice micro with the archers over there, takes down the Arbs of Nikov, and those Arbs now, from Dragonstar, will be heading straight towards MBL's base. MBL dispatches a couple of Cavalier, or now Paladins, to deal with that, but in the moment MBL sends his units all the way around there, the Cavalier are coming in for Spring. 61 Cavalier, and now Camos are in the queue, even heavy Camos. MBL's got 47 Paladin, so MBL is still a massive threat, and I see Paladin running around everywhere. MBL will try to raid his way back into the game with Paladins, but he's gonna have to chase Cavalier here as well inside his own eco, and soon heavy camo will be added. I don't know why Spring is adding light cav. This map has an awful lot of gold to work with, as Dragonstar is trying to stonewall himself against the Paladin, and now Dragonstar is gonna have a tough time dealing with all those Paladin around there. MBL, still pretty decent economy, but now he's losing quite a lot of farming eco in here to the Cavalier raids, and I feel like Spring's raids are doing more than MBL's ones. MBL's raids are actually doing damage here, quite a bit in fact, but overall, they are sometimes fighting the Arbs, they are sometimes just trying to get through walls here. They are killing Wills, but it's not as decisive as the Knight push over here, or Cavalier push from Spring. He has done a lot more damage to MBL's farming eco, I believe. Still, Dragonstar is not down to 95 villagers, so hold on for a moment, because this is far from over. Army numbers are still very close, and Aftermath still has the villager lead. So I feel like, once again, Dark Empire is forced to do something here. They have 47 Cavalier against 41 Paladins, and while the heavy camo numbers are great to have, the problem is that there's a lot of Arbs from Nikov, and Nikov's Arbs will just absolutely annihilate those camos over here. Nikov, that's a very, very feels good Memphis trap. They're no longer infinite, but still they carry thousands of food, so Malay fish trap actually is very helpful here. The castle from Dragonstar, one of his two, is actually being shelled here by multiple traps. They also have the hill advantage, very nice positioning there for Nikov. MBL, is he gonna have trouble with wood access though? He shouldn't, he still has wood lines over here, but he was playing seeing a TC over here, so that's why I assumed. And this TC isn't going up for MBL here. AM's having a decisive advantage when it comes to economy though, as MBL sending in wave after wave of Paladin inside their eco. But as the camo numbers grow, it's gonna be easier and easier to clean those raiding parties up. On the other hand, the camos won't really be able to take a direct fight over here, because the Arbalests will just shred them. So, Spring losing all his eco, he's down to 86. Is AM gonna turn this around? MBL with the Paladins, holy potatoes, he has killed so many vills. He has killed 97 vills in this game, and make it 100. The rate at which he's killing villagers right now is brutal. Wherever you look on the map, there is yellow Paladins just slaughtering villagers. Spring is down to 67 vills in just a minute or so. This is absolutely brutal. This is MBL all over the place. Previous game it was Nikov who had to carry the game a little bit because MBL got destroyed. Now it's, I think, MBL who is performing the best in this game. Nikov is playing well, but it is MBL who's raiding them back into this game. The castle is gone for Dragonstar, as now we are talking about a 100 villager difference, and those heavy camos are nice and everything, but you don't really fight with camos against Arbalests, especially if those Arbalests have support from Castle Fire, and they also have hill advantage. Maybe if those Arbs would focus down the Arbs from Nikov, that would work, but even then it's dicey, and MBL is still in here with Paladins. Spring won't be able to replenish his camos anytime soon. I mean, his farming economies has collapsed. Spring has 9 on food. Spring has 9 on food, ladies and gentlemen. That is just not enough. The resource bank is out, and as I said, now the unit composition is not good enough. Arbalest and Paladin should be able to beat Arbalest and Heavy Camel. Army numbers are still pretty close, but now it is AM being the aggressor all over the map. What a game this is. It was so close for Spring and Dragonstar, yet it very much seems like that was just a little too far still for them. Now, it would take a very, very long game from Spring to recover. He needs a couple of stone walls himself, I believe. By the way, he lost his dock, which means that all his fishing ships are idle. So it's one thing that he has 61 villagers, 12 of them are actually fishing ships that are completely idle right now. Nikov is actually stonewalling and castling the right hand or the southern corner to prevent future trade, should this game go long, but I don't think that this game is gonna go long here. There is less and less chance for Spring and Dragonstar, because AM now has a decisive eco advantage. So that is a serious concern right now. If this game is turned around by Spring and Dragonstar, it has to be in an extremely long game, because Spring needs to have time to reboom from scratch, pretty much. He's now adding a dock over here, which would at least make these fishing ships operational again. But, I mean, he's still at 61 villagers, and I wonder if that castle was deleted or it was destroyed by the trap. I think... Okay, Nikov deleted the castle. You see the stone being returned. He realized that the trap is firing at it, and he needed to delete it immediately. Now he's got some bombard cannons as well against the Arbalests, so... Really? Oh, MBL. Come on, MBL. That's a way to lose a game. Or that's a way to finish a game. Flemish Revolution in the house. He's not even getting... Like, he's got Blast Furnace, but he doesn't have the infantry armor just yet. There's Flemish Revolution for MBL. Now, truth being told, it's not necessarily ideal to get Flemish Revolution when your opponent still has Arbs. So you gotta be careful here. Because... if this doesn't work out, MBL is toast. Now, the good news is that against Cavalier, the Flemish Militia will work very nicely, as they just streams through the map over here. And since it's mostly skirms, I think it's gonna work. But, come on. Yeah, Spring is gonna call it. I feel like Spring just saw the Flemish Revolution and were like, okay, let's just call it over here. Oh, MBL. MBL. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... 7 TCs, well, two of them were in construction, but still, it would have been possible for him to reboom. I feel like it wasn't about the Flemish Revolution, it was about the Arbalests and still 33 Paladins versus 22 Cavalier, 3 Camels, and mostly Skirms over here. GG's by AM here. Definitely a harder game, and I kind of feel like, once again, there was a chance for Spring and Dragonstar, they just couldn't use that chance to finish off the game. That was the previous situation as well. They actually had a fairly decent chance to maybe mount a comeback, but they weren't able to pull that one off. So with that, now it's 2 games in a row by Aftermath. Quick look at the stats over here. What I'm curious about is MBL's gold income from the relics. That's pretty decisive, I would say. 3.5k, almost 4k gold for relics. That's massive. 83,000 resources overall. So, with that, KD, Nikov had a pretty decent KD over here. Funnily enough, there was barely any buildings killed. So it's not like anyone was sieging down the opponent. You see 4 buildings killed by Nikov, 4 by MBL, not a single one by Dragonstar, and 3 by Spring. So really it was about destroying the armies, and since MBL and Nikov had a position in the middle with pretty much infinite fruit from the berries, plus the relics, that actually also had an advantage. Army high for MBL is obviously 176, because, well, Flemish Revolution, and you see, that's the Flemish Revolution over there. So, with that being said, we can take a look at the remaining civilizations for what will be the final map if AM actually ends up closing this one out. That is Rockslide. If Dragonstars and Spring actually win this game, we'll go to Canberra and Cape of Storms, and I feel like on Canberra they would have a good chance. Cape of Storms should be MBL and Nikov quite a bit. Let's see what Spring and the Dragonstar has to do on Rockslide. Jumping into game number 3 over here. Welcome to game number 3. As once again, we're gonna have to set the colors appropriately, like that. So, we're gonna have on Rockslide, Italians for Spring in green on the south. To the west, we will have Dragonstar as Koreans in blue. So no Portuguese, surprisingly a little bit. On the other side, Incas for MBL in yellow, and Aztecs for Nikov in red. What's the plan here? Incas? Is it double Eagles? I don't even know what you're planning here. Because you don't have access to stoves, so it's not like an Inca tower rush or anything like that. This is such an awkward civilization combination over here for MBL Nikov. The double Eagle Warrior play. Let's see if they're actually going for that. Nikov is actually popping out a couple of Eagles here, as the docks are coming up for Spring. Spring really is motivated to grab some of that shorefish over there, as you are looking at it right now. That's gonna be a very nice extra food income for him, walling off his base against the Eagles. Still, the main target is gonna be the gold mine. So that might be the plan here for AM. Just play with Eagles, archers, and push the gold mines. There is gonna be an archer range here for the Dragonstar with Koreans. And for now, Nikov is probably looking for the gold mine of his opponent over here. We have the villagers gathering that fishing ship, or that shorefish. What am I talking about? So they're gathering that shorefish at a pretty rapid pace, which means that with the shorefish plus the discount on Castle Age, Spring should be able to click up pretty soon over here. So, let's see, the Eagles will intercept the Spearman over here. The Spearman was mostly just scouting around, as a stable will be added by Spring to deal with the Eagles. Fire Galley is sailing all the way up here, but probably a galley would have been better, because a galley would have denied this gold mine in here, whereas a Fire Galley probably won't. It might be able to reach some villagers, but probably not all of them. Nikov doing some market usage over here, as he's on the way to Castle Age. He's the first player, actually. Dragonstar, for now, just massing a couple of archers back at home. Considering that MBL is also going for archers, that's completely fine. And it looks like MBL actually chased down the scout all the way here on the right side, which delays his push towards the gold mine of Dragonstar. That Fire Galley isn't really doing much, as it looks like Dragonstar is the player that brings in the galley. This is where things could get a little bit more problematic for Nikov because that gold mine could be exposed. But I think Nikov can just fall back over here because they seem to be focusing a lot on land. So if they have the better land army, just go over here and take that gold. So galley almost in here. Looks like MBL is actually gonna fall back to a safer gold mine over here. He doesn't really need to, but it's nice to have a backup gold mine over here as we are gonna have the galley now harassing Nikov a little bit. Nikov is gonna be the first to Castle Age, last player will be MBL. Meanwhile, we have a couple of Eagles poking around, and it looks like Nikov is going for additional Eagles, or additional barracks over here. We'll see if it's additional Eagles, but it could also be just pikemen, or Monk and Siege. Think about it with Aztecs. Forward Siege Workshop into Mangonels, and Monk and Siege. That would be brutal. Okay, there is no overchop there. Nikov was a believer. He was hoping there is no overchop, but there isn't actually. That's very good for Spring over there. Kind of lucky as well a little bit. As the Archers of Dragonstar will actually take a decent engagement here against the Eagles. Nice move from MBL to save the low HP Eagle though. As Nikov indeed is going for Pikeman. This is going to be Forward Siege Workshop, Pike and Siege. The only reason why we saw Eagles is because you wanted to secure the front line. And finally someone is doing this strategy. I love this strat. This map was in 2-pos as well, and I was always saying that you could actually make a case for Pike and Siege on this base, because there is nowhere to go from here. If you can't stop a Pike and Siege, here you're gonna lose your entire eco, and you're trapped. Now, it looks like the primary target may still be the gold mine at first, as I would say there is gonna be a monastery coming in here for Nikov, as expected. Nikov fell back to this gold mine, as he should, just go for the safe one over here. Galley coming in to help out this little archer over here. MBL is gonna realize and fall back. MBL's got a bunch of archers over here waiting to be upgraded to crossbows. As behind this one, Dragonstar is making turtle ships. Oh boy, bring on the turtles right away. At least, even if they lose this, they go out with style, I have to say. Because those turtle ships will be hard to deal with, but not impossible. I mean, MBL can just make a couple of monks. As there's a knight popping out, the pikeman is going to take the fight against the knight. This wasn't ideal, but guess what? The knights are beating back the eagles over here. Monks are out. Mangonel takes a shot and takes down one of the knights over here. The monk is just chilling and watching the battle unfold, actually doing some healing. That's a bit of a mismanagement of units over there by Nikov, losing the monk because he didn't actually start a conversion, and now the Mangonel also goes down. For a price of a knight, a Mangonel and a monk is actually pretty decent value, and now here comes the turtle blob. Luckily for MBL, he's got a backup gold mine over here, but he will be forced off from gold for a moment. Picks off a villager here on the docks for now, and MBL's crossbows could easily pressure this part of the wood line as well. Behind this one, knights are looking for the villagers of Nikov though, and that's where things are getting heated up. In fact, I think Nikov may already have lost a couple of villagers over here because I saw a dead body. Nikov has lost 9 villagers, that's right. We can rewind this a little bit, because I'm curious what happened here. This may have been the thing that Nikov was distracted with. Oh yeah, the knights found Nikov's vills. The knights found Nikov's vills, and that's such a good counterattack from Spring. And that means that Nikov is losing all his gold miners. He just lost his forward monk and Mangonel. MBL also just forced off from his gold mine, and behind this one, you have to keep in mind you have 2 TCs. For Dragonstar, this is looking pretty decent for Spring and Dragonstar over here. Especially because now Nikov is unable to access gold here. So, looking at those economies, Dark Empire is actually in the lead. Those Italian knights are making it happen, as the archer is gonna pick off a villager here potentially from MBL. That would be nice value for an archer. If that archer actually ends up picking that villager off, Galley should be able to focus down the eagle, and it looks like Spring wanted to get the demo shot in on those crossbowmen. That's not gonna be successful at all. Here comes the other push from Nikov. He gets a conversion on knight, but now the other knight could fall on the monk. Tries to surround the Mangonel. It looks like he's going for a mango, and he does get the kill. The knight goes down, as the second knight will probably not get the Mangonel here. For now, defensive tower is up, and the turtle ship is coming in here as well. TC on the way for Dragonstar, but MBL could easily deny this one if he actually spots that there is villagers building it from the other side. He does, so this TC isn't going up for Dragonstar anytime soon, and Dragonstar is gonna have gold control issues as well. The turtle ship here I think is a mistake, although it's trying to clean up the crossbows and it will be successful doing so. But they have to be very careful not to get them converted by those Aztec monks over here. Mangonel now pushing the tower of Spring. Spring is making some knights, so I think he just wants to pop out those knights, jump on that Mangonel, buy himself some time. Oh, the converted knight is going for the Mangonel of Spring here. Spring gets the repair in and takes the shot. Looks like this could be a good one for Spring over here. Almost gets a direct hit on that Mangonel, but the Mango goes down to the tower fire over here. Nice micro so far by Spring in this one, as more and more turtle ships are coming to this side. In fact, all of them from the north have now sailed down here to the south. Nikov still has no gold income, right? Yeah, Nikov is without gold. So you see Nikov actually has to sell food and wood. Wood price is already pretty much bottomed out to get Mangonels and monks out. So losing every single Mangonel here is a massive, massive problem for him, because he just can't replenish them. He doesn't have gold. So, the third TC is finally going up here for the Dragonstar, I believe, as the turtle ships are going all the way back. What is this random fish trap? Dragonstar just made this fish trap in the middle of nothing, as MBL is gonna realize, okay, the best way for me to get the gold is to make a TC where my army is at, and the army is at the front. Knight gets conversion. Oh! Converted Knight is gonna take down that Mangonel, right? Or not. And guess what? Nikov is in trouble here. Nikov is in trouble because now he lost two monks over here. He couldn't snipe the Mangonel with the Converted Knight. And those two forward villagers, if they get picked off, then this forward is pretty much cleaned up. Nikov invested a bunch of resources into this TC, but that's not gonna happen either. He's on one TC. The turtle ships are taking down this siege workshop as well, which obviously helps quite a bit for Spring. And it looks like Dragonstar behind this one is actually having a pretty decent boom. 66 Veils. MBL coming in here with the rescue, using the crossbows to pick off the Veils. That's some nice value for those crossbows. MBL's got a very good eco behind this one as well. So, 30 on food already. He's making TC number 4 right now. Looks like Nikov is not giving up on this push just yet, but I feel like he just set back so much. And I think that's gonna be a TC over here by Nikov. He probably wants to start mining stone here. Meanwhile, Dragonstar is already accessing stone, and that means that the war wagons will become a thing soon. And those war wagons will be hard to deal with over here, although Eagles could probably do the trick, as finally MBL's crossbows do get cleaned up. 3 TCs for Dragonstar, 4 for MBL, 1.5 for Nikov. That may soon turn into 2. And only 1 TC from Spring. Ah, Spring, you need a second town center, my man. He doesn't have the stone, but he could just buy 100 stone. Because look at how many villagers he's got queued up. Alternatively, he could go into Imperial at this point. If he cancels the villagers that he has, he could actually click into Imperial pretty much with those resources. Nikov selling a lot of wood for gold, but as I said, the wood price is already bottomed out because everybody has been selling wood who didn't have access to gold. As multiple docks are coming in here for Spring, Imperial Age will be coming in for MBL as the first player, as it looks like these turtle ships will open up the front of Nikov's base, and the Knights will probably just try to run inside, try to wreak havoc in the farming eco, or potentially among the lumberjacks. Fletching for Spring looks like he's gonna go for War Galley / Galleon style play here. MBL just playing big boom over here. 5 TCs and going for Scale Mail, so Eagle Warriors will be part of the plan over here. As now the turtle ships will take down the market. That's gonna hurt for Nikov, because he was using that market really heavily. Now he has access to gold, but still, now his wood income isn't necessarily impressive, and the turtles are sailing towards MBL's eco. Still, MBL's gonna have the mobility with the Eagles, and MBL's gonna have the land army. And the deeper and deeper we go in this game, the less and less important water is, and the more and more important the land armies are. So MBL with mass Eagles could easily devastate this part of Dragonstar's economy, for example. And he's having 5 TCs, so his economy is good enough to just flood the map with Eagles here. So, left side, looks like Nikov is still resilient, trying to push up against this gold mine from Spring. Spring is actually falling back to this gold mine over here, so there is some extra for him to take, and that means that even if he loses this one, he's gonna have a backup gold mine to work with. Food price is pretty high, wood price is extremely low, so the market is kind of messed up. Nice Mangonel shot over there by Spring. Mangonel will not trade right now. Let's see if Spring gets another Mangonel shot in. Misses the target, Nikov turns back, tries to take the shot, but will not be able to. And now, look at the front of Nikov's base, as the second player that clicks up to Imperial will be Dragonstar, but what are Koreans gonna do against those Eagles? I kind of feel like MBL has hit that perfect timing with the Eagles. He's still missing upgrades, but there is basically no land army for Dragonstar that can stop the Eagles. He's got crossbowmen. Spring needs to send all his knights over here to stop this, and it looks like instead they would just dive in on Nikov's base. So it's gonna be Nikov being sacrificed so that MBL can flood the map with Eagles. This may work, but it's risky, because Nikov could be very much out of this game if he loses everything here. And there's a chance he will. This would be minus 20 villagers for Nikov, and it's not like this one is that much safer either. So Nikov could lose an awful lot, in fact more than what Dragonstar could lose, I believe. The castle is going up, and I feel like now there is Eagles from Spring. Okay upgrades, but they won't be able to match up against Elite Eagles, although the Elite Eagles are also missing +4 defense, so this will at least delay the eco of Dragonstar being overrun right now. And look at this, TC going down, and in the moment that TC goes down, the Mangonels will come in here and Nikov's gonna lose like 20 vills. Condos? Yeah, condos could work. Although with Koreans you wouldn't have Blast Furnace, so it's not really a great choice. But yeah, condos might actually be a makeshift solution that buys you time, because if you destroy Nikov here and you're working towards doing that, then all you need to do is just make sure that you are 2v1ing MBL. Look at the villagers of Nikov just trying to come out and take down the Mangonel. The TC is gone, as one Mango actually will go down here. But, well, Nikov's gonna lose all those villagers. Funnily enough, AM still has the villager lead, because MBL's will count is brutal. It looks like it's Chemistry and Bracer over here. Are you gonna fight Eagles with Orbs? That's new to me. Okay, now the Mangonel is pushing up. Nikov's gonna lose a lot of vills here. So, as I said, it's about delaying. By the way, MBL has a converted turtle ship here. The famous and well-known Inca turtles. Look at MBL though. 45 Eagles and counting, already coming in here with the Rams. Nikov is dead, but Dragonstar will be dead as well soon. And honestly, Nikov is harassing Spring here, at least at an acceptable level. Good old villager fighting happening over here. Nikov knows there is nowhere to go. This is the danger of this map. You could get trapped within your own base with nowhere to go, and Nikov is down to 40 vills. Still, I feel like now, if you look at the villager count of Spring and Dragonstar, that's still less than MBL alone. So, does MBL need Nikov here in this game? No, absolutely not. Eagles will just wreck everything. Dragonstar is just as dead as Nikov is. 48 vills versus 42, Dragonstar getting overrun here, and I mean, Spring is in Castle Age with 1 TC, so really that's not gonna help either, and Nikov is still just doing his best to be disruptive, and he actually is. Like, those Mangonels are pushing the villagers of Spring, not letting him catch his breath, and behind this one MBL is just snowballing the game here with Eagles. A couple of hand cannons now pop out, but I don't think their numbers are enough, and even if they are, Dragonstar is actually more dead than Nikov is. So, yeah, I mean, Spring's at 51 vills, Dragonstar's at 35. MBL was just allowed to boom untouched, and now it's Siege Ram and Eagle, and I mean, Dragonstar's eco is just as devastated as Nikov's is. Nikov was the punching bag, but Nikov is like, okay, Nikov is converting a stable. Xolotl Warriors? Xolotl Warriors, anyone? We have seen Flemish Revolution. Come on, Nikov, make one for the viewers. You don't have anything else left, so might as well make a Xolotl Warrior for the viewers. He's doing it. He's doing it! 25%? Dragonstar is still not resigning, despite the fact that he's 27 vills, and We have Eagles garrisoned all in those siege rams, and they actually call the GG just seconds before the Xolotl Warrior pops out. So we're not going to see this guy on the field. Flemish Revolution, Xolotl Warrior, but really, it was a matter of Mbia snowballing this with Eagles. If Nikov is just a little luckier with the conversion RNG, then he would have been able to convert this table a little faster, and then it probably would have allowed us to see a Xolotl Warrior. Nadia, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome everybody for your stream. Thank you for joining in. As we have Aftermath just now taking a 3-0 win against Spring and Dragonstar. I would say that it was somewhat of a predictable result, but we saw some entertaining games, some competitive games. Obviously, AM might be the strongest team in their group, although it's debatable because in this group we have Jordan, Taro, and Nili, we have MBL and Nikov, and we do have Brawlers, Bars and Valas, and Dark Empire. Obviously, Aftermath is among the stronger opponents, so there is no shame for Spring and Dragonstar losing to them. They actually gave a pretty decent showing over here, but the skill difference was noticeable as MBL and Nikov march past their opponents over here. MBL Nikov, 3-0 over here. We will continue with the second set in a matter of moments.